Have you ever been at the end of your rope? Yeah, me too. Sometimes life hurts. At other times it doesn't play fair. Well, here's what to do when that happens. Welcome to Mornings with Bishop Robert. Thanks for joining me on the top spot on the internet for Beverages with a Bishop. You know, my goal is to introduce people to the Jesus they never knew, and then help them get to know Him and His Word personally and better. So if our time together today speaks to your heart, let me invite you to like, subscribe, and also share this with a friend. Hey, life is hard. In fact, at times, it's all but overwhelming. And anyone who tells you that they've never been at the end of their rope with no discernible path forward, well, those people will lie to you about other things too. Because we all face that issue. So the question becomes, how to face it? Well, here are 3 insights on how. First, recognize that not facing it is not an option. Like a person who suddenly finds themselves inside a burning building, the choice is either determined and deliberate action or painful death. No, that's not an overly dramatic statement. Just look at the lives of those who've seen everything they've ever valued, family, home, faith, wealth, health, utterly destroyed by the unchecked impact of life's toughest challenges. Left to run amok, the pressures of life have historically driven people to battles with alcohol, drug abuse, depression, pornography, violent outbursts, both physical and emotional, and much, much more. The carnage is measured in destroyed individuals and families. But it need not be so. The answer is found in the wisdom and grace of God. And yes, I deliberately chose the wisdom, as opposed to another article like an or a phrase like, well, one approach might be. Finding your way to the wisdom and grace of God necessarily requires seeking Him. Finding Him requires learning how to speak to Him. And perhaps more importantly, learning how to hear His voice. Now, the term for speaking to God and listening for His reply is called prayer. So that brings us to the second point. Begin with a recognition that learning to pray is a process. I mean, learning to pray is much like learning to read or learning to swim. It's going to involve some effort. It's best learned with the assistance of someone who's already accomplished in that skill. You know, stories about people who do it well might be encouraging, but it's not going to affect your own skill. If you want to get better at prayer, you must actually pray. Thankfully, practice develops skill, both in praying well and hearing well. Now, like any communication, having a willing partner is a critical element. And God is always willing to hear us. When we approach Him in prayer with a humble heart and a desire to hear Him, He's pleased. And it's a worthwhile effort because God desires it. And therefore, He rewards it. A great and precious promise of Jesus is recorded in today's verse. Whoever comes to me, I will never reject. Now that's a promise. Whoever. Why, whoever is, well, it's you. It's me. I mean, everyone is included in whoever. And never. Wow, that's an all-inclusive condition. He says, whoever comes, I will never reject. Hey, third, we need a simple process. Like the crawl stroke in swimming, this process is simple enough for beginners, and capable enough for those with advanced skills. I heard it yesterday when a group of men were talking about different tools they use to learn how to pray and to teach others who wanted to learn for themselves. So if you're just learning how to pray, here's one way to approach it. Let the P stand for praise, the R for repent, the A for ask, and the Y for yield. The P is for praise. Enter his gates with thanksgiving. Come into his courts with praise. Praise is the key to the door, as it were. God's done many wonderful things, and reminding ourselves of them and praising him for doing them places our hearts in the proper position. Recognizing his greatness and his majesty clarifies both our need and his ability to meet that need. The R stands for repent. Confess your sin. Reject it. Lay it at the feet of Jesus and leave it there. Ask him to cleanse you from your sin. He's got the power to deliver us. I've known addicts who were miraculously, totally, and instantaneously delivered. I've also known addicts who walked through rehab and recovery programs with great effort. In both cases, they saw God's guiding hand breaking the chains off their lives. Sin is a cancer. Get rid of it quickly and totally. The A stands for ask. Present your request to God. He says, ask, seek, and knock. Keep asking, seeking, and knocking. Because as you do, you're going to find your desires being conformed to his. You'll begin to love what he loves and hate what he hates. Like any good parent, his answer to our prayers will not always be yes, yes, but it will always be best. And like any child, we may not always see the issues clearly enough to understand why he says no when he does. Now that is an issue of trust and maturity. But keep asking. You'll keep receiving. And you'll also keep learning to listen better. The Y stands for yield. Let God give you the desires of your heart. Again, it's not him granting your every whim. It's him leading, guiding, and directing you by molding your desires into conformity with his, placing your goals in his hands, and seeing what he does with them. Well, there you have it. To pray well, you just need to praise, repent, ask, and yield. Life is hard. So pray hard. That's it for today, friends. But could I ask you to help me introduce people to the Jesus they never knew, and to help them get to know him and his word personally and better? Please like this video. It really does help more people to see it. Then click follow or subscribe so that you and I can get together every day. If you click the link in the description, you'll be able to download a free copy of my book, Count to One. Also, don't forget to share this video with a friend, because as you do, well, you're part of the team, helping to touch hearts all over the world with the love of Jesus. And thank you for helping.